Welcome to TechbrothersIt. In this video, we are going to take a look on some string functions. So here's my sample data, and you can see that we have only one column called name column here, and we can see that there are some spaces before the name Amir here, and there's some spaces right after Lisa, and same goes for Charlie. We have some spaces on the front and on the back of this name. Also, Bob is in all capital, Lisa is in all capital, and that's the sample data we have here. Now I'm going to call this column as a raw name, and then I'm creating a data frame called df. Create Spark, create data frame and provide sample data, then provide the list of those column name. Here we have only one column, so we are going to create this data frame df with that column. Now we will take a look into this data frame and execute this code. And here it is. You can see that this is my raw name, and you can see the spaces after and before in this name column. Now what we are going to do, we are going to trim. So trim removes both leading and trailing spaces. So that's very easy. Often we get into situations where we load the data from CSV files or some other formats, and we would like to just have a very nice and clean data, so we can use the trim here. Here I'm creating a new data frame called df trimmed, and we are applying a trim on the data frame. So we have df for that we just got created with column, so adding a new column, and we are going to call that column as a trimmed. And here we are applying trim function on this raw name column, so that's in our data frame df. And then I'm going to display df underscore trim by using the show function. So let's execute. It should create a new column called the trimmed, and it should trim all those spaces what we had on the left and right. So you see right there is no space here for Lisa or Charlie, especially Charlie. You can see that there were spaces that are removed as we have used trim function for removing the leading and trailing spaces. Now let's go to the next function, and we have ltrim, and that's your left trim, and you have r trim, that's your right trim. So you can use these the two functions in case you want to remove the leading or the trailing spaces. So here I'm creating this ltrim data frame, so I call it df underscore ltrim, and here is our original data frame. We are adding a new column, and we call this ltrimmed, and then we use an ltrim on this column raw name column, and that's what it is going to do. It's going to trim all the leading spaces. Then here in the next data frame I'm using df underscore r trim, and on the original data frame df adding a new column called r trimmed, and then we are using r trim function on this raw name column. So it's going to remove all the trailing spaces and give us a new column called r trimmed, and then I'm printing this df underscore r trim data frame. I'm going to execute these both in just one execution, so I can show you, because this is not really like that important we do separate. So here is the user using ltrim here removes leading spaces, and you can see right there is kind of well formatted, and here you remove trailing spaces. So you can see that the first leading is still there, but the trailing has been removed. So in this case that's done. So you can use either ltrim or rtrim depending upon your scenario, however you need to do that. And here what we are doing, we are converting to the lower or upper by using lower or upper columns functions. Here df lower equal to df data frame trimmed. So I'm using this data frame that has you have used the trim on the very first one. So once we have that data frame, and then we are adding a new column called lowercase and applying lower function on the trimmed column, and here it is. And once we run it, it's gonna convert all the names to the lower. So you can see that we have, this was our raw data, and then we have trimmed that has a very nice trimmed data here, and but to see the Lisa and Bob they were all capital, and here we converted them to the lowercase. Now everything is a lowercase. Now the same way you can do uppercase, and here you will use upper function here, and that will convert everything to the uppercase. So let's do that and take a look, and here it is. So you can see that now everything is converted to the uppercase. So you can use lower and uppercase functions depending upon your needs. Now if you want to use initcap, that's if it will capitalize the first letter of each word. So in that case, we are creating a new data frame and say in df trimmed with column, and we say title case, and then say initcap, and applying on this trimmed function column. And what it is going to do, it is going to capitalize our first character in each name. So let's execute, and now you can see that we have each character, the very first, as a capital in the name column. And finally, we are taking a look on the different functions such as length, character length, and char length. These functions will help us to find the total number of characters in our column. So now we are creating a new data frame called df length and df trimmed with column length, and here I provide a length and providing using the column trimmed. And the same way I can use a char length and char character length or char length, and we are going to go ahead and print. It's going to return us the same output, the number of characters from that column. So you can see right there, if I take a look right here, this is a for our length function, and you can see that we have 5 characters here in our name. Lisa has 4 characters, and we have Charlie that has 7 characters. And the same way char length will do the same thing. Actually, character length will do the same thing and give us the same count for each of the value right here in this column. And here we have the char length is alias for the length, same values it is going to return whatever the number of characters in that column. So I thank you very much for watching this video, and please subscribe my channel, and I will see you guys in next video.